Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again. This is kind of a bonus review. You know, I watched a ton of stuff and, a lot of it I'm just going to save for the end of the year because then, I can talk about it on the list videos. But this is something where I wanted to review it just for fun and just because I feel like, I don't know, maybe I should have reviewed it when it came out. It's just some movies like they don't interest me enough to want to see them, and so I'm like I'll wait, and then I just wait and wait and wait, and then I don't watch them. Like that's what happened with what was that movie with Nicolas Cage, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Nicolas Cage movies, basically. Like, his movies come out, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to watch that, and then I'm like, and then I just lose interest. And this was one where, I was really not excited based on the actress. So, first off, I just watched the last full moon movie we will be reviewing today as well. It will be today, tomorrow. And it was so bad. It was so, like, I could barely pay attention because it's one of those movies where if you try to pay attention, you fall the fuck asleep. It's that bad. And so I powered through it, and I'm like, what? I want to watch a real movie. I want to watch a movie, made by adults who, know how to make a movie, kind of. And the movie that I watched was Wonder Woman, because I thought, too, they put all these DC movies on Amazon, and so I thought maybe I'd go back and watch these DC movies and, see if I like any of them and see if I was missing out. And I think with this one, I kind of was missing out. I mean, I want to look at the other movies from 2017 because I know that there were some other good ones, just to see, like, was it that big of a mistake? I kind of think it was because I watched Barbie. And Barbie is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And it certainly was worse than this movie. And so it made me feel kind of embarrassed that I had seen Barbie, but not Wonder Woman. And so I watched this movie. Oh, wow. Why do I have John Wick 2 at number 1? God, that's fucking retarded. Well, I can already see, like, yeah, there's some movies. There's a Shot Caller. That was pretty good, but not better than Wonder Woman. Logan. Why do I have Logan underneath War for the Planet of the Apes? What the fuck? God, was I making this? This is what I mean, guys. Like, sometimes, I make these choices on this channel, and I look back and I go, yeah, that wasn't a very smart decision. I mean, this ranking is just screwed up. Like, I have, oh, God. Oh, this ranking is terrible. Except for the bad movies. They're all where they need to be. But yeah, Logan I would say is better than Wonder Woman. A little bit. Because it had better action, etc. Disaster Artist. I think Disaster Artist is slightly better too. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It is tough to say with that one because... maybe Wonder Woman would have the edge over that, and then I do think that Wonder Woman is better than Brawl and Cell Block 99, and John Wick 2, obviously. I don't know why I have John Wick 2 at number 1. I mean, what was I thinking? But I will say, Split is way better than Wonder Woman. I mean, Split is just fantastic. Let's get that straightened out here. I will have to redo this ranking when I finish this review because it... And I bet there's other movies I need to add because I've seen more movies since I did this ranking. So first off, Wonder Woman, I was not excited for it because of the actress playing Wonder Woman. I thought she doesn't seem like she's very good. And she seems like she's not really right for this role. And she seems like she needs to bulk up and get more muscular, because I'm sick of this thing with like movies nowadays where instead of hiring like really muscular guys, they hire these skinny actors, and then the actors get on steroids for a couple of months, and then it's like, okay, you can act now. Like, I miss like the olden days when they'd be like, okay, here's a muscular character, let's hire a bodybuilder. And it's not that, it's the fact that, like, that's what superheroes are. Like, when you look at superheroes, you think about that classic look that they have with the muscularity and just thick muscles. You don't think about scrawny, skinny people. Like, if you guys don't know, with Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, he's supposed to be like fucking 7 million pounds of muscle. And you got Tom Hardy, and he took some steroids for a couple of months and gained some muscle, a little bit of muscle, and they still had to CGI muscle onto his body. I mean, that was bad. That was really bad. And I hate that movie, by the way. So overrated. And I just felt like, from seeing all the stuff with her in the trailers, and that she really didn't fit the bill. But I think that I was wrong, because I watched the movie, and it's funny because her bad acting actually like helps the movie, because it makes her kind of cute, and it makes her really likable and empathetic, and really like a great character. Like, a lot better if she would have been like a great actress, like I don't know, I can't think of anyone from nowadays. Sorry. Because I just can't think. I don't know who I would have wanted to be Wonder Woman, honestly. Like, I don't know what I was thinking with that either. Like, she was perfect for the role. Gal Gadot, she was perfect for this role. She is Wonder Woman for sure. I never thought I'd be saying that, but, you know, it's 2023, so, you know, that's just how it is. And yeah, as I said, like, the movie starts off with this origin story, kinda, and it's really well paced, and it's really good, and then, of course, Steve Trevor comes in, and you have the whole relationship with him and her, and she's just really, really cute. Like, she is just, she is so cute. It is like, you should have called this movie Cutie Woman, because, like, the whole, oh god, that sounds wrong. I'm not talking about the movie Cuties, I promise. I'm not talking about that, but seriously, she is really, really cute. Like, this whole movie, I was just like, wow. I really like her as Wonder Woman. I really, really like her as this character. She is, like, as good as, like, all the other actors who, you know, like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, like, all these actors who play these iconic superheroes, and people say, like, oh, I couldn't see anyone else playing that character. I couldn't see anyone else playing Wonder Woman, and I don't want to see anyone else playing Wonder Woman. You know, now that I've seen this, yeah, that kind of kills the James Gunn universe for me, because I don't want to see anyone else playing Wonder Woman. And in general, the movie overall, it had a lot of great stuff. It had great music, really, really good music. It had tons and tons of great dialogue scenes with character building. Really cool how, like, she goes and does something badass, like a badass sequence where she fights and does this and that. And then Steve, he goes and does something badass, and it's like they complement each other. And like this movie is a perfect example of what female empowerment in movies should be like. You know, female empowerment in movies should be like this, where it's like, it's not about the women putting down the men and about women are better than men. It's like, no, it's like this is about, you know, equality and about, you know, the fact that she's really strong and he's really strong too, and they're stronger together than they are apart. And I really, really loved that. I thought that that was awesome because it's so refreshing to see. It's like, why can't they just make movies like this and then not make movies like Barbie and like the Disney Star Wars movies where it's all about women are better than men and men are awful and men are evil? Like, this is how you do it. This is how you make a feminist movie. I totally would love to see more movies like this. But we're not going to get that because, well, this movie didn't make $1 billion. Barbie did. That's the unfortunate thing. You know, that's the state of mental retardation that we suffer as a society. And you know what? Like, Aries was right. Like, after seeing people support Barbie this much, a movie that's so hateful and so awful and so just bad and terrible, Aries was right. I'm just kidding. So, anyways, yeah, I love this movie, and I was enjoying it from beginning to end. I was like, you know, this is great. It is actually a great film. It's not just a great superhero movie. It's a great film. And I love it when, you know, I get surprised like this, and it's just such a nice feeling to get. Now, I did have a couple of issues that came up, like, as the movie went along, like, especially when it came to the last, like, 30 minutes. Because I like the twist. I like the twist where Ludendorff was not the main bad guy. I thought that was kind of cool. But then again, like, I really liked that guy as the villain. Like, he was so good in that scene where she dances with him and she really wants to kill his ass. And then Steve stops her. Like, that was a really intense, great sequence. And I really liked the villain-hero dynamic between them. So it was so... It was kind of disappointing when it wasn't him that was the bad guy, because... even though I did like the twist, I liked the actor better as that villain in particular. But still, it was a good twist. And to me, after that twist, I was like, okay, it's all about how they stick the landing. How they manage to pull everything together in these last 30 minutes. Because they had a great first three-fourths of the movie. You have this great team dynamic with these characters, these guys. I can't remember their character names, but they were good characters, I promise. And you have a great heroine, you have a great hero, and you have some good action. We will get to the action, too. Good comedy, good dialogue, good music, good everything. No Man's Land sequence, obviously, really, really iconic. But then that last 30 minutes, was like, Wow. It wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad, but it was messy. It felt like it felt like something that was like the first three-fourths of the movie were in the final draft, and then it felt like the last 30 minutes was like in the first draft. Like somebody accidentally switched them around, and they put the really good last 30 minutes in like the first draft document, and then they took the bad ending from the Word document and they put it in the final draft, in the shooting draft. And not that it was bad though, but because it did have some good elements to it, but it just felt kind of messy and really contrived the way that it's like this long like monologue with the Ares where he's like, these people are bad, these people are evil, and kill Dr. Poison because she's bad, and kill all these soldiers too because all humans deserve to die. And then there's this just kind of like, it almost felt like a TV movie at the end where she's like, no, that is not the way. Humans deserve love. And I was like, huh. Like, because I understand her loving Chris Pine, but like, where did she come to the conclusion that you need to love Dr. Poison? Because that's one of her villains in the comics. That's a comic book villain. I don't think she ever comes to that conclusion in the comics because she keeps on fighting that guy or that girl. I don't know. I think I read that they gender swapped her. But how does she come to this conclusion? Like, because that would indicate that she was wrong in killing Ludendorff. And that would indicate she was wrong for killing those soldiers. So where does the love come in? How is she going to give her love to everybody? Because at the end she's like, I'm going to do what I was put on this earth to do, and that is to spread love around the world. I think something like that, something like a Hallmark movie type of TV movie type of thing like that. And it's like, where did that come from? Because she loved Steve Trevor, the good guy. But where did the love come from for the bad guy? Where did the decision come that, like, no, you got to love the bad guy. You got to hug the bad guy and give him lots of kisses. Like, where did that come from? It was just so out of nowhere. And it was just kind of like the filmmaker going like, hey, this is my main idea. I'm restating my thesis statement. My thesis statement for this movie is that love conquers all. And I'm doing that restatement right now with this epic action sequence. And I did think that the action in this movie was a little lackluster in terms of, at certain points, like, the action was really, really good, and then all of a sudden they'd slow it down. And it really irritated me because it irritated me, not movie. I'm not movie. It irritated me because it felt like that's something that shitty ass piece of shit sacked Snyder would have done. And Patty Jenkins is not sacked Snyder. She's a good director and a good filmmaker. So I was kind of like, the biggest problem I had with this movie wasn't really the ending with that whole 30 minutes of, messy kind of, it was just a mess. It was just like you took a really good meal and you threw it all over the floor. And you said, sorry, Marco, you're not going to be having leftovers of that. It's like, why'd you do that? Like, just, we want leftovers. Okay? Like, just that's my food rating for this movie, too. It is a perfect meal. Filet mignon, mashed potato, I don't know what the perfect vegetable would be, because vegetables suck. They're not perfect at all. I mean, they're good, but it's just, I can't really think of the perfect vegetable. But I guess I guess asparagus goes good with steak. So you take the perfect meal, and you just toss it all over the floor, and you say, "Not gonna be having leftovers of that nice dinner, honey. Marco, fuck you. You fucking watched fucking..." I mean, what did I choose to watch before I watched Wonder Woman? I chose to watch Jigsaw, the Beauty and the Beast movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, Pirates 5, Dunkirk. Ugh. I chose to watch those before Wonder Woman. God, what was I thinking? Terrible. But yeah, my biggest complaint wasn't really the ending, surprisingly. My biggest complaint was the action and how it felt like it was too slowed down repeatedly. And it felt like, yeah, there were some moments where it was cool to slow it down. But then there were a bunch of other fights where I was like, stop slowing it down. You're taking all of the suspense out of it. Like, Alfred Hitchcock, when he did his little, he called them montages, which, whatever, but like, they were fight scenes, a lot of them. But when he did his montages, did he slow those scenes down? Did he put them in slow motion? No. And I guarantee you, if he were alive today and he was making films, well, they would cancel him because they're stupid. But if he was alive and making films without being canceled by the crazy women and the crazy crowd and the crazy people, he would not slow down these sequences. He would keep them at full speed, because that's how you keep the suspense. That's how you keep the intensity. This whole thing was slowing down the action. I hate it. I hate it, and I think it's a stupid trend. And so, yeah, I would also say, too, another thing that I haven't mentioned is, I really loved how Wonder Woman in this movie was like an actual hero, where she, the point of her character was to save people, and it wasn't just to, do what Henry Cavill's Superman did in all of his shitty-ass movies, and do what a lot of other shitty-ass superhero movies have done. Like, she was really focused on saving people and on helping people. Like, that's what superheroes are supposed to do. And so, this is probably one of the best superhero movies ever made. And, yeah. I guess it's better late than never. And I will also be watching the sequel, which I will say, too, I heard all about the sequel, and I really hope that it's not as bad as I heard, because I really like this movie, and even if the sequel is the worst movie ever made in history, it is not going to take my enjoyment out of this movie. This movie is definitely on my top tier list of all time, and it's that good. Like, I was wrong with this one, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know about the sequel. So, please like this video, comment, and tell me how bad the sequel is, because I've heard it's so bad, and I've heard about the things that happen in it, and just it makes me want to cry after watching this movie, because this movie was so good, and to think that movie will be that bad, it's really disappointing. So, and then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews, And if you would like to see me continue my DC catch-up, where I watch a bunch of these movies that I said I'd never watch. And I was lying, obviously, because I'll basically watch anything except, I don't know. So goodbye, everybody. See you soon.